I do not identify as BLACK. And all you persons who have taken the liberty to lump all melanated persons under the term BLACK, you are not God. Let me repeat that one more time. Each and every one of you persons who walk around here on these social media apps, constantly saying out your mouth, we are all BLACK, you're not God. And you don't have the right or the liberty to speak for millions of persons. So stop making yourself sound like a fool and stop doing it. Just every time you feel yourself getting ready to do it, stop yourself in your tracks. But I'm getting ready to end this audio because something tells me I'm going to have to break it up into 2 parts now. I'm really going to have to break it up into 2 parts. And I really didn't want to do that, but I wanted to be very clear. I wanted to be very clear the harm that you are doing now to yourself. We all had no choice but to blame America when we did not have this information. But Talent New Negro Republic uncovered that information for all of us who are descendants of Negroes. And since this man took time out of his life to uncover it and do that research and found the facts that America has we all had no choice but to blame America when we did not have this information. But Talent New Negro Republic uncovered that information for all of us who are descendants of Negroes. And since this man took time out of his life to uncover it and do that research and found the facts that America has been harming Negro descendants for 53 years, if you choose to ignore it and continue to call yourself BLACK and African American, you have no one to blame but yourself. And while you're doing that, you are inflicting that self-destruction onto your kids and grandkids. So as long as you can live with that in peace, then no one else have any right to say anything about it. But just know that that's the personal choice you are making. I personally cannot blame America anymore. If I wake up tomorrow and keep on calling myself BLACK and African American, how can I say with a straight face that I blame America when I'm making a personal choice to say that word out my mouth and to put it in print? So, for you folks who have not heard about this information that the OMB is in the process, America, the president, the Congress, the Senate, and the whole world is in the process working behind the scenes, and they're working overtime to erase the term Negro. Because for those of you who did not find from research, J. Edgar Hoover told America back in 1950, the greatest threat to America is the Negro unity. You can also look that up on Google too. There's multiple reasons why America is trying to erase Negro. They don't want their bloodline to have to hear about that history. They want that history to disappear. They want Irish, Italians, Latinos, and Mexicans, and Asians. They want all these other nationalities to claim that 246 years. They do not want it to be claimed and preserved by the sacrifice of Negro ancestors. So America has made that decision. They started making that decision back in 1960. See, America don't decide to do anything without planning it 50 to 100 years in advance. So America has been planning this, like Talent, New Negro Republic uncovered. For over 53 years, America has been harming all descendants, Negro descendants of Negro ancestry. It didn't just start yesterday or last month. America has been doing this for 53 years. Now, you can wake up tomorrow and decide if you want to continue to help America, or you can decide that you want to abolish the word BLACK and African American, because the OMB has put the definition on their website, and nowhere in that definition do it describe a descendant of a Negro ancestor. Nowhere is any word on that website describing a descendant of a Negro ancestor. That definition that's on the OMB website describes a imaginary group, say it together, imaginary group somewhere on the African continent in a racial group. So anybody who have a crystal ball, will you please ask the crystal ball, how do you find that racial group on the African continent? Because America has served it up for all you ungrateful human beings who felt the need and the desire to self-identify. America said, I can do one better for you. I'm going to remove you from this landmass and place you over on the African continent. So unless you plan on petitioning the Congress and the Senate and the President and the OMB and everybody in between, you are officially placed on the African continent in a racial group until that definition is changed. The only ethnicity that gave us rights in this country was Negro. But you folks just couldn't see that for the sake of your life. That word, that one word carried so much weight and precedence that you persons just could not see that for the sake of your life. You just have the ability to speak for millions of the Congress and the Senate and the President and the OMB and everybody in between. You are officially placed on the African continent in a racial group until that definition is changed. The only ethnicity that gave us rights in this country was Negro. But you folks just couldn't see that for the sake of your life. That word, that one word carried so much weight and precedence that you persons just could not see that for the sake of your life. You were just willing to just abandon that word and self-identify. Now you see, the good Lord has a way of making sure that each and every one of us get our just due. When we exhibit ungratefulness and disrespect, we don't know when we're going to get that just due, what day it's going to be on, what time of day, but it's coming. It sure is what our name is on our birth certificate. That just due is going to be served up to us. And so each of you persons who just was so determined to self-identify as a Black American, African American, Freedmen, ADOS, FBA, B1, every one of you was just so been determined to want to self-identify. Well, you got your wish. You got your wish. And you wish this on not only yourself, but your children and your grandchildren. And now you are somewhere over there on the African continent. I have no idea how anyone is going to find an imaginary racial group. But maybe somebody can find it. I don't know. But if they do decide to get on an airplane and go over there and try to find that imaginary racial group. I trust and pray they'll come back and tell the rest of us where it's located. I just hope and pray they'll do that. But see, I'm going to say again, America has never permitted or been okay with Negroes doing anything other than self-identify. They never wanted to recognize human rights Negroes deserve. They have never wanted to recognize human self-respect that Negroes are entitled to. And they have never wanted to allow Negroes to have fair opportunities to achieve whatever their God-given abilities were. Those are three things that I can think of without any hesitation. But the one and only thing that America cared about allowing Negroes to do without rejecting it or pushing back against it was self-identifying. So that should tell you all you need to know until you go to your grave. That's the only one thing that they have ever allowed. And why would they do that unless it was self-serving for America's agenda? They wouldn't be doing it for any other reason. And so for each of you who have made that personal choice to continue to identify that way, because you can wake up tomorrow and say, I'm not going to identify that way anymore. Because I clearly understand the attachment. I was born in the heart of the era of Black Power, 1962. But like I said on my other audios, I cannot remember one conversation growing up where any of us ever thought of BLACK. I'm not going to identify that way anymore. Because I clearly understand the attachment. I was born in the heart of the era of Black Power, 1962. But like I said on my other audios, I cannot remember one conversation growing up where any of us ever thought of BLACK being our ethnicity. It never came up. My clearest memory is that anytime we were out in the neighborhood playing with each other, when we was angry, we would call a person BLACK. That's the only memory I have. I can say that on a stack of Bibles, that when I was growing up and playing with my friends in my neighborhood, anytime any of us got a little mad with each other and we wanted to hurdle something that we wanted to insult that person by, we will use the word BLACK. That was really the only time I can remember that it got thrown around. And then as I got older, I noticed that we were required to check a box on forms. But I'm being as straightforward and clear as I can be. And I have racked my memory, and it's the only memory that I have of using that word BLACK before turning 18 was when we were out in the neighborhood playing with each other and we got mad at each other, we would say the word BLACK. Aside from that, we did not use it. We did not use it. So I was born in 1962. So you new generations, now you're going to have that on your conscience. Because a bloodline of people who will not fight for their history will not have a future. You can't name me one ethnicity in present day time that do not fight for their history. So those of you who have abandoned Negro, you don't think it's worth fighting and dying to save, then that's your personal choice. But you will pay the price for making that decision. Because I will say again, any bloodline of people who will not fight and die for their history, and the Negro history carved out 246 years in this landmass, and every person that claimed to be a Negro descendant, if you're not spending your waking moments to tell other folks and shove it down other person's throat, then you are abandoning it. You are no different than America and the rest of the world who want to erase it. You may tell yourself differently, because one thing about us human beings, when we are proud of something, we like to show it off. Like when we wear our sneakers and our name brand clothes and our expensive cars and our nice houses. When we proud of something, and we can't wait to let other folks know about it. So if you haven't spent any time off of your life letting other folks know that you are proud to be a Negro, then you are helping America and the rest of the world erase it. What's complicated about that evaluation? Because you certainly know that when you are proud of something, you like to show it off. You like to show off your sneakers and your clothes and your house and your cars and your achievements. But if you haven't been using your voice and your time to let those around you know how proud you are to be a Negro, then you are making it clear to them that you're not proud of it. Because if you felt proud of it, if you felt it on the inside, it will come out of you without any hesitation. So for those of you who are not proud to be a Negro, by now you more than likely don't have it on the inside, and you may never have it. And you may really not be a descendant of a Negro, and that's okay. But you can't keep on running around here claiming to be deserving of reparations if you feel too good to identify as a Negro. You can't have your cake and ice cream too. You can't say out your mouth that you are deserving of reparations, but feel that you are too good to identify as a Negro. The two are not separated. Biology don't work that way. If you haven't been using your voice and your time to let those around you know how proud you are to be a Negro, then you are making it clear to them that you're not proud of it. Because if you felt proud of it, if you felt it on the inside, it will come out of you without any hesitation. So for those of you who are not proud to be a Negro, by now you more than likely don't have it on the inside, and you may never have it. And you may really not be a descendant of a Negro, and that's okay. But you can't keep on running around here claiming to be deserving of reparations if you feel too good to identify as a Negro. You can't have your cake and ice cream too. You can't say out your mouth that you are deserving of reparations, but feel that you are too good to identify as a Negro. The two are not separated. Biology don't work that way. Only your imaginary fantasy world works that way, where you can say out your mouth that you are a descendant of a Negro, but then go by something totally different. That's a fantasy world that, as human beings, that we have the ability to conjure up. But biology don't work that way. And each one of us have the ability to make self-correction. So if America kept changing the ethnicity, if you have a person in your bloodline that was a descendant, was a slave, and a Negro slave, then that makes you a Negro descendant. You don't change your ethnicity or bloodline because the decades change. You don't change your bloodline or ethnicity because you want to self-identify. So that's why each one of you ungrateful individual persons will not see one red penny, one red nickel, one red dime, one red quarter. God is not going to allow you to be rewarded. If you feel you are too good to identify as a Negro, don't believe anyone who is telling you to fight for reparation, because you will not see one red penny of it. God is going to make sure of that. Now, the lying people who stand in front of you and tell you differently, they're going to continue to string you along. They're going to continue to give you false hope. But if you don't believe me, just look at the last 40 years that folks been fighting for reparation. They've been fighting since 1980. And I think the root of the problem is that they just have been failing because they refuse to identify as Negro. They want to identify by all of these new terms, and God is not going to reward that. God is just not going to reward that. Because it could have been simple. It could have been very, very simple to get the Negro ancestral justice claim across the finish line if folks would have just been able to temporarily put aside their self-interest and identify as a Negro. But that was asking too much of you ungrateful person. And so God is not going to reward that. God is not going to reward that. And so you had the proof the last 40 years that folks been fighting for reparations. And they've been fighting for reparations, but they've been trying to go by a different term, like descendants of slaves, descendants of chattel slavery. And now we have folks who want to identify as ADOS and Freedmen and Black American and African American and B1 and FBA, all these different. They've been trying to go by a different term, like descendants of slaves, descendants of chattel slavery. And now we have folks who want to identify as ADOS and Freedmen and Black American and African American and B1 and FBA, all these different terms. And you think God is going to reward that? If you are claiming to be a descendant of a Negro, that makes you a Negro too. Whether it's on your birth certificate, whether America chose to change it or not, you have common sense and you have a brain cell. That if that person that you are claiming to be a descendant from, that makes you the same person. That makes you a descendant and you have the same ethnicity. That's just the way common sense biology works. But that don't work that way for those persons who are ungrateful, who want to lie to themselves and make up a fantasy world to exist in. And that's why God is not going to reward it. That is why it should be very clear to all of you persons that God is not going to reward you with one red penny or one red nickel or one red dime or one red quarter. Because a bloodline of people who abandons their history and the sacrifice that was made, God is not going to reward that. It's just not going to happen. So all of you ungrateful folks who have not spent one waking moment trying to protect and preserve Negro, you only have yourself to blame. If you just find out this information, you get a pass. I'm going to say that again. If you are just hearing this information, you get a pass. But for those of us who know who we are, who have been hearing it for a very long time and still refusing to identify as a Negro, you persons don't get a pass. You already been served up by America by placing you on the African continent. That that has been your reward. So you have already started getting served up for your reward for wanting to self-identify. So I'm going to close out right there. I could stay here for a little while longer, but I got other work to do. I'm going to break this audio down into different parts. It looks like it's probably going to take maybe 3 or 4 parts. But stay tuned. Like I said on my previous audio, my resolution for 2024 is to figure out how to research and find the information to leverage these businesses and corporations' success to improve my financial security and the financial security of my Negro community. I did not stutter when I said that. My priority is to improve my financial security and the financial security of my Negro community. I do not identify with any of these other terms. And for those of you who are bothered by my perspective and my words, then we can part ways. I really don't give a darn. We can part ways like we never cross paths. So folks, just take care. Do everything in your power to stay out of harm's way and keep safe and well. I hope we'll have a chance to chat more in the future in this coming 2024 year. Thank you. Thank you kindly for taking the time to listen. Keep safe.